Yo, wait.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer
Which one? What's good, David? Big fan. Oh, thank you. Mitchell.
I gotta stop with him if you even.
We
need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?
The deeper we go into the David case, the darker it gets. What started as a missing person story has spiraled into one of the most unsettling scandals the music industry has seen in years. And if you thought the headlines were already wild, the new details make it almost impossible to tell where fact ends and speculation begins. Online, the buzz is relentless. Old videos of David with Celeste have resurfaced, clips that people are replaying and dissecting frame by frame. Social feeds are filled with side-by-side comparisons of tattoos, with users asking if they were really matching or if the internet is stretching coincidences into evidence. And then came the claims. Some voices online insisting that Celeste may have been dealing with more than anyone realized before her death. Nothing has been confirmed, but that hasn't stopped the rumors from spreading like wildfire. And it doesn't end there. On his most recent tour, David reportedly staged something that fans are still trying to wrap their heads around. He had a casket, a wreath, and even a notepad where audience members were encouraged to write letters to the deceased. Some saw it as edgy performance art. Others saw it as disturbing foreshadowing. Either way, the symbolism felt impossible to ignore once the case made headlines. Social media has only poured fuel on the fire. Alleged photos began circulating, claiming to show David interacting with Celeste's circle of friends in questionable ways. None of this has been verified, but the very existence of these images sparked another round of outrage. And people keep digging through his old lyrics, especially from 2022, pointing to lines where he sang about violence or revenge. Were they just dark metaphors, or were they signals hiding in plain sight? The harshest accusations, though, aren't even aimed at David himself. Online forums have turned their attention towards Celeste's family, criticizing the lack of protection around her, while others whisper about deeper family troubles. Whether those whispers hold any truth or not, they've added another chilling layer to an already messy story. If silence really did surround this case, then the question becomes, was it neglect or something more? For context, Celeste Rivas was reported missing in April 2024 in California, not far from Los Angeles. Authorities said it wasn't her first time running away, but tragically, it was the last. Months later, workers at a Hollywood tow yard reported a foul smell coming from a vehicle. Inside, they made a grim discovery. A body later identified as Celeste, found in a car registered to New York-born singer David Anthony Burke, better known as David. That connection turned a missing persons case into a headline-grabbing scandal overnight. Her family later launched a GoFundMe to cover funeral costs, sharing their grief publicly and describing her as a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. Meanwhile, investigators kept the pressure on. Detectives executed a search warrant on a Hollywood Hills property tied to David, recovering several items of evidence now under review. They've confirmed little, but insiders suggest multiple leads are being followed. The fallout has already reshaped his career. His world tour was cut short, his deluxe album shelved, and his label reportedly put all projects on hold. From the outside, it looks like an empire collapsing in real time. But for fans, critics, and investigators, the central question remains the same. How much of this story is rumor? How much is reality? And what will the final truth reveal? Every time you think this case couldn't possibly get darker, boom, another detail drops and the whole thing spirals again. And honestly, at this point, you have to ask yourself, is this just a string of coincidences, or is there something way more twisted going on behind the scenes? Let's start with the tattoos. Yeah, the internet swears up and down that David and Celeste had matching tattoos on their fingers, supposedly a little symbol meant to keep their secret safe. Now, maybe that's just TikTok detectives doing too much, but when you pair it with everything else, it stops feeling like a coincidence and starts feeling like a pattern. And then the songs. Oh, the songs. In a leaked track, he straight up sings about Celeste by name. He's talking about smelling her scent on his clothes, hearing her voice every time he breathes, calling himself obsessed. Listen, maybe it's all just artistry, maybe. But come on, how are you supposed to hear those lyrics now without your stomach turning? And don't forget Romantic Homicide, one of his biggest hits, still climbing streams. He literally says, "In the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry." People noticed it dropped on Celeste's birthday, And then fans started pointing at the girl in the video, saying she looks just like her. Coincidence? Or was the art imitating something much darker? You tell me. But here's the question nobody can shake. How long was this going on? Some posts online claim since she was still way too young. Others dissect lyrics from his older songs like they're hidden codes. One verse talks about 7 years, and fans instantly started doing math that nobody wants to believe. Is it stretching? Probably. If so, why does it keep lining up in such creepy ways? This isn't just fans speculating anymore. TikTok receipts from last year show people claiming they tried reporting him. Discord chats supposedly filled with conversations that don't look good at all. Even the Hello Kitty references people used to brush off as quirky are now being painted as bait to pull in younger listeners. Were they harmless, or were they strategic? Now here's the part that really sends shivers. People say his inner circle knew. Allegedly his team, his friends, even his family were aware of what was going on. Photos started circulating that claimed to show him handing out cash to Celeste's friends to keep quiet. Verified? Number? Explosive? Absolutely. Then there are the forum posts, people claiming to know someone who saw Celeste traveling with an older man named David. They allege her friends were paid off, again, unverified, but in the court of public opinion, screenshots and whispers spread faster than facts. And if that wasn't messy enough, darker whispers have started making the rounds. Some say Celeste was dealing with more to her situation before her death. Others point to Discord screenshots where David allegedly joked about starting a family with someone called wifey. Is it trolling, fantasy talk, or something else entirely? The internet doesn't know, but it sure as hell has opinions. Even her family hasn't been spared. People online are calling out her mom, saying she didn't protect her. Others accuse relatives of knowing too much and staying quiet. Nothing proven, but let's be real. Rumors don't need proof to dominate headlines. So here we are. Tattoos, lyrics, cryptic posts, silent circles, and a storm of whispers no one can fully debunk. At this point, you almost have to ask, is this story about one man and one tragedy? Or is it about a whole system that looked away while the red flags piled up? Here's where the scandal stopped being just whispers online and started wrecking real-world careers. The industry didn't just flinch, panicked. And the speed at which doors slammed in David's face told fans everything they needed to know about how Hollywood handles scandal. First came the tour cancellations. North America, Europe, all those stadium dates that were supposed to define his breakout year, gone overnight. Promoters hid behind vague statements like unforeseen circumstances. But let's be honest, everybody knew exactly what that meant. Nobody wants their arena turning into a protest site. Nobody wants headlines about fans chanting Celeste's name outside the gates. Then the brands ran for cover. Fashion collabs? Scrubbed from websites. Gaming platforms that once blasted his music? Quietly swapped it out. Even merch distributors pulled products off shelves. These weren't symbolic moves, they were survival tactics. Corporations live and die by their image, and the second you become a liability, they'll cut the cord like you never existed. And let's not forget the Grammy situation. Just weeks earlier, there had been buzz about him being featured in a youth-focused exhibit. Suddenly, his name disappeared from promo materials, like he'd never been part of the plan. No press release, no explanation, just gone. And that silence spoke louder than any official statement could. It was the industry saying, "We don't want the smoke." Meanwhile, the media had a field day. Late-night talk shows cracked jokes, gossip blogs milked every rumor, and YouTube commentary channels pumped out hour-long breakdowns. Don't get it twisted. This wasn't just reporting. This was entertainment. Every headline was crafted to keep the clicks coming. Every podcast episode turned into a shouting match over whether he was guilty, misunderstood, or a product of a toxic industry. His name wasn't just news, it was currency. But here's the irony. While brands and institutions erased him, his numbers skyrocketed. Streams for Romantic Homicide and Here With Me shot through the roof. Fans claimed the lyrics were clues, hate listeners dissected every word, and the algorithms didn't care why the plays were happening. They only saw traffic. And traffic pays. So while the industry distanced itself publicly, behind the scenes streaming services were quietly raking in cash off the controversy. And that's the dirty little secret, isn't it? Public cancellation, private profit. They'll strip your face off the billboards, but they'll keep cashing the checks as long as people click play. To fans, that contradiction felt disgusting. To critics, it was proof that the system feeds off scandal as much as it pretends to avoid it. So ask yourself, was this about justice? Or was it about optics? Did the industry pull the plug because of morality, or because they smelled blood in the water and didn't want to sync with him? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks less like accountability and more like self-preservation. Either way, the message was clear. In this business, loyalty is a myth. The second controversy touches your name, you're radioactive. And if the music industry can erase you this quickly, maybe it was never about the art at all. It was always about control. Let's be real. This wasn't just a case for the LAPD anymore. This was headline gold for the tabloids, gossip fuel for podcasts, and primetime drama for talk shows. The story had grown bigger than the investigation itself, because every corner of the celebrity world was now reacting, or very carefully choosing not to. First, the silence. Big names in the industry, people who had once co-signed his rise, suddenly had nothing to say. No support, no denial, not even a half-hearted, let's wait for the facts. That kind of silence speaks louder than words. If your so-called allies can't say your name when things go bad, maybe they never believed in you in the first place. Then came the unfollows. One by one, artists and influencers who had posted selfies with him last year quietly erased the evidence. Screenshots flew around, showing who stopped following him on Instagram. It sounds petty, but in today's culture, an unfollow is a statement. It's the celebrity version of slamming the door in someone's face. And fans noticed. Some stars leaned into the drama. A few rappers posted cryptic tweets, stuff like "the masks always fall" or "not surprised at all." They didn't name him, but everybody knew who they meant. Others went further, openly shading him in live streams or interviews, dropping hints that people in the industry knew things long before the public did. Whether that's true or not, it added gasoline to a fire already out of control. Talk shows, gossip blogs, and YouTube commentators couldn't resist. Late-night hosts cracked jokes that blurred the line between comedy and accusation. Podcasts debated whether he'd been hiding in plain sight. One viral clip even showed a celebrity panel where two guests nearly shouted each other down. One defending the idea of separating art from artist, the other insisting that his lyrics were red flags we all ignored. The fans, they went to war. Twitter threads turned into battlegrounds. Some diehards refused to let go, saying innocent until proven guilty like a mantra. Others declared they could never stomach his music again, calling those who still listened enablers. Fan pages splintered. One side archiving his work like sacred texts, the other deleting everything in disgust. It wasn't just a fandom anymore, it was a civil war. All of this made the scandal more than just a case. It became a mirror reflecting how celebrity culture really works. Fame isn't just about talent, it's about perception, loyalty, and survival when the storm hits. And this storm showed just how quickly loyalty collapses. Allies vanish, collaborators hide, fans split down the middle. The same culture that builds you up in a year can dismantle you in a week. And here's the raw truth. Scandals like this don't just test the artist, they test the entire industry. How many people knew something and stayed quiet? How many profited off his rise, but disappeared the second things got ugly? These are the questions fans are now asking. Not just about David, but about the machine that put him on the pedestal in the first place. So the spotlight isn't just on him anymore, it's on everybody who stood beside him. And in Hollywood, sometimes silence is the most damning sound of all. When Discord finally broke their silence, it almost raised more questions than answers. In an official statement, staff from both Discord and Twitch insisted they had no idea about Celeste's real age, no clue she was a missing person, and no direct contact with her beyond what was public. They claimed she looked like she was around 18 or 19 during her brief appearances on David's streams, and insisted they were blindsided by the revelations. Top it off, most of the moderators have now left his server, distancing themselves completely and posting condolences to her family. On paper, it sounded like damage control, a community platform trying to clear its name. But here's the problem. Screenshots exist. And those screenshots show conversations with her on that very server when she was still extremely young. To critics, Discord's statement felt less like truth and more like self-preservation. If the chat was moving too fast, if names slipped through unnoticed, if moderators really weren't watching, what does that say about the kind of community that was being run? And it's not just Discord that's under fire. The bigger question haunting this entire scandal is the silence. Not just from one platform, but from his entire circle. His team, his online moderators, even his close friends. Allegedly, so many people knew pieces of this story and chose to look the other way. And that to me is even more chilling than the tattoos or the leaked videos or the whispers of bribes. The silence feels deliberate, like the truth was being buried right in front of us. So, where does that leave David himself? Is he just reckless, tangled up in bad decisions? Or was he actively orchestrating something far darker? Was he aware of every piece of this? Or are there still details hiding in the shadows? Speculation online has gone as far as suggesting Celeste may have been dealing with more to her situation than anyone realized. Again, unproven, unconfirmed, but the whispers are there, and they won't stop. And let's not forget the Tesla. Investigators found Celeste's body inside his car, and that single fact ties him to the discovery, whether he speaks on it or not. People online are already asking, how long are Tesla's cameras storing footage? Could there be video evidence of who placed her there, when it happened, and what really went down? The official investigation hasn't released answers, but the questions won't go away. Every time you think this case can't possibly get worse, it does. From industry fallout to online conspiracies, from leaked songs to silence that feels deafening, the story keeps spiraling. And at the center of it all is one fact: truth is still hidden. So here's where I'll leave it to you. Was this a tragic story of neglect, a cover-up by people who should have spoken sooner? Or was it something much bigger, with layers we haven't even begun to uncover? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over.